Hey guys, happy finals week, as much as that can possibly be said. Hang in there. Today I'm going to be giving my presentation on Run, Lola Run. I really like this movie because it's fast-paced and intense, and for once actually had some sort of resolution that was satisfying. I think this was the first one where we didn't end all end going, ah! So, today we're going to talk about a couple different things pertaining to the movie. We're going to talk about the worldview presented in this movie and how it is affected by the main character's loyalty and decision making. So, the first aspect of this film that we are going to talk about is loyalty. We're going to focus on Lola since she's the main character of the movie. Lola's loyalties, at best, are shaky, and for good reasons. Who gets and who does not get Lola's loyalty is very important and shapes the whole film. Let's start with who doesn't get Lola's loyalty. Lola's mother does not get her loyalty, despite what you might think. Not everyone has the best constructive parents, and this is shown clearly by Lola's mother, who is seen in the movie with a drink in her hand, talking to, let's call them questionable figures on the phone. She seems helpless to herself, let alone being able to help Lola when Manny calls, desperately needing help. So, she's essentially useless. No loyalty for you. Who also does not get Lola's loyalty is her father. He does not get anything from Lola because he doesn't give anything to her. He's greedy, he's self-centered, and it's a good reason to not have Lola's loyalty. In a matter of desperation, she goes to him looking for money to help Manny in a life or death situation. But we can see the pain on her face in the movie, deciding whether she's even going to go to him or not. He ends up doing exactly what she expects, which surprisingly seems to hurt her more than she would even expect. Granted, she asked for 10,000 marks, but he not only doesn't give it to her, he also basically tells her that he never wants to see her again. Now, it doesn't help his case either that in two of the scenarios she catches him with a mistress, therefore shattering any semblance of loyalty left. So, yeah, he's out. But who does get Lola's loyalty is very, very important. And you know who does? Her boyfriend, Manny. Although he himself makes questionable decisions, he has Lola's loyalty. Even when he blames her for the situation that he's in now, he still has Lola's loyalty, and she comes racing to his rescue when he calls. Their relationship before the film is unclear. It is not specified how long they've been together or the nature of their relationship in general. All we know is that when he called, she came running and would do anything in her power to make sure he stayed alive. He asks for 10,000 marks, and she comes at the drop of a hat, even if she has no solution. Next thing we want to talk about is decision making. The whole movie is shaped around Lola's reactions to the scenario she's been placed in, and how each small little thing dramatically changes the whole course of the movie. When Manny calls initially, the biggest decision has already needs to be made. Is Lola going to come and help him or not? And as much as this doesn't seem like a decision, it may be the biggest decision in the movie. If she sits there hopeless, going, "Oh, I can't fix this," Manny dies no matter what. The decision is made so quickly that we almost lose the importance of the choice itself. She comes running, and that's the only reason Manny's still alive. Another decision Lola has to make is those pertaining to her father. Does Lola go and ask her father for the money? Does Lola tell her mother about the mistress that she just found out about? How does Lola obtain the money? Does she rob her father? Does she ask him for it? Or even in the third scenario, does she forego him altogether and say, "I will figure this out on my own"? These are hard and rapid decisions that are being made, and each one has a dramatic effect on how the outcome goes. She goes and asks her father for the money in the first scenario, and is rejected and disappointed, and then thrown out. In the second scenario, she goes and robs her father, gets the money, somehow evades the police, but then gets shot. In the third scenario, she's like, "I don't need this guy," and forgoes him altogether. And that decision ends up being, ultimately, in this film, being the correct decision. But there were many more options even than that. But those are the ones that the movie chose to show us. In the third scenario, she makes an entirely different choice, which lines up other choices. She walks into a casino that she's underdressed for, goes in, insists on staying even though she's clearly unwelcome, and then chooses to make a scene, which is quite dramatic, as shown by the shattering glass from when she screams. But she decides to take this route and ends up coming out with the money anyways. There's a distinction between decision and chance. She gets lucky and ends up winning all the money she needs, but she decided to go in there and risk Manny's life on a roulette wheel. That was a conscious decision that could have gone horribly wrong. She also subconsciously decides the interaction she has with strangers. And the strangers decide how they're going to interact with her. I think the best example of this is the old lady that she nearly plows over in every scenario. The strangers interact with her differently every time. The old lady, for example, in the first one, she just calls her something and moves on. And we see glimpses and flashbacks of her life. In the second one, the interaction is different, and therefore it affects her life differently. In one of the scenarios, you see her stealing a child and running off with it. And in another scenario, she wins the lottery and comes home with money and ends up being rich instead of some lady just walking the street. But each of the interactions with the different strangers, those decisions affect how the course of the film goes too. She runs into that bike boy in all three of the scenarios as well, and only in the third one, when she decides to interact with him further, does that create a better solution. He runs down to the pub where Manny then finds him with the money. Next thing I want to talk about is worldview. The worldview in this movie seems sadly realistic. As cynical as this worldview may be, it seems all too common. The main character in the movie is a young woman still living with her parents, and yet she doesn't have the greatest relationship with them either. That's a sad reality. Her boyfriend is a drug runner, and he does that to make ends meet. For him, that's his day job. Granted, that is less realistic, but it's not impossible either. But the whole movie has an overarching cloud of cynicism, where the feel of the film is not happy. It is intense, it is panicked, it is realistic, but it's not happy. The ending, however, happy and ending in the third scenario, still, you sit there for a moment going, that's messed up. Even just a little. That's messed up. While we're happy it works out, and that's how we pray that our life will go as well, with a happy ending even if we scrape by. The worldview presented by all of the characters, Lola, her mother, her father, the strangers on the street, the bike boy, and the old lady, emphasizes over and over and over and over again a cynical, looked down upon worldview. And it's not too far from the world we live in. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Enjoy your Christmas break. Go sleep. Bye, guys.